Now, this is a very common situation that we come across where your water quality in this tank has actually deteriorated quite remarkably and the fish actually look quite good. Now, what can happen is if you don't test your water and you don't work out that the water is acid, and yet the fish are okay because the fish have sort of just got used to it and their immune system has been able to allow them to survive. But over a long time, their immune system will fall and they will end up getting a problem, which obviously we're going to fix now. But what can be a major issue is that you can have a whole tank full of fish and they look great. And if you haven't tested the water, you could sell these fish to somebody and then they could go and put it in their water, which is good water, and then find the fish all stress and die. And then you might think, well, what the hell happened there? But the fact is that you really need to be regularly checking your water because fish can't handle shock or change. They can handle slow degeneration. So if the water has slowly degenerated, the fish can get used to it. But then if you shock them into better water, you can actually kill them by improving the situation. So anytime you sell fish or move fish on, I really recommend testing the water. If in doubt, bring a sample of water down to see us at the shop and bring us a video so we can see everything going on in the aquarium and we can also see any bits and pieces and bottles and jars and food and stuff that you've got. So at the moment, the pH is very acidic. There's not really nitrite or nitrate or ammonia in the water, so the nutrients are not bad, but the KH is only 1. Now, considering that there's alkaline rock in there, that's a very interesting situation because that rock should actually break down and raise the KH. But because of the sheer amount of crap that we pulled out of the filter, there would be lots of acids in all of that crap from all that, that sort of decomposition breakdown would create a lot of acids. So at the moment, this water is acidic and it has a KH of 1. So the fact that the fish are looking so good is absolutely a testament to the food. Now, this is something that I find very commonly. I'm looking at a bunch of healthy fish. They look great. And that's because they're fed on a good quality food. If you fed these fish pressure-cooked, processed crap food, I guarantee you they're not going to look anywhere near as good as they look now. So fish food quality is everything. And I absolutely swear by Danichi, which is the ones that these fish have been fed. And I also love New Life Spectrum's probiotics. If you don't feed those foods, I really recommend you do. And now we're going to have to go through a process of slowly improving this water. And what we don't want to do is improve the water really quickly because then we'll stress the fish and we can potentially kill them. Now, I'm really not a fan of these water change systems. I really want to do all of my water changes through the gravel. So I'll just get all the crap and sediment and debris all out of the gravel. Then I want to put nice clean water in the top. And we've done a fair bit of a filter clean today. So today's not a good day, but we sometimes want to rearrange the rocks and get in underneath the rocks and get all the crap out because where the crap really builds up is underneath the rocks. Call it a bit of a spring clean. Now, considering how dirty this filter was, the gravel in this tank is actually not that bad. But if you start feeding more, as these fish do need, they're a bit on the thin side, I would encourage increasing the food just a little bit because we're also going to want to monitor the water quality at the moment because we're going to slowly improve that as well. But these are pretty diggy fish. You'll see these fish digging. Now that scratchy on the clown loach is not a great thing. We want to just keep an eye on that behavior. If you see a lot of the fish scratching, then we do want to send alarm bells because we need to improve the water quality, and then we may even need to look at medicating if you see little white spots on them. And there are products like Vogel, which are artificial immune enhancers that do help to improve the immune system of the fish in these sorts of situations. So in this case, doing little often is really going to be the key to improving this tank. Not doing too much at once or you shock. Flow in your aquarium versus water flow in your filter is two different conversations. So as far as water flow in the aquarium is concerned, this aquarium has very good water flow in it because this lovely big Aquarel pump is giving us great water flow. But the water through the filter was a concern, But speeding up the water through the filter doesn't actually increase the filtration. In some cases, you can actually slow the water down in the filter and actually have better filtration because of what we call contact time. So if the water just goes through really quickly, then you're decreasing your contact time. So therefore, you can actually have decreased efficiency in the filtration. So in this case, we could probably up the flow, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the filter is going to run any more effectively. As long as it turns over at least once an hour, you can get maximum biological exposure. But the aquarium, you want to turn over more like 10 or even 20 times an hour, and you really want good surface agitation, which that pump does a great job of. I've put some activated carbon in this aquarium because this color tank has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. So the activated carbon should really help to clear the water out because we want to see some nice clear water. And to do that, we're going to need a series of water changes because if you haven't changed the water for a while, you get a little bit of what's called a Gilvan tint in the water, and that can discolor the water as a bit of a yellow color. The other thing is we want them, next time we'll give the lids a good clean, because if the lights are shining through green lids, obviously that will discolor as well, because we'd like to see this water nice and crisp and very clear. Just put a little bit of KH powder or KH liquid in the water, and that's just slowly dissolving. Now, whenever you're dissolving KH, it is good to try and keep your oxygen level up. So I've just turned the power head back on. That's aerating very nicely, because whenever you're dissolving chemicals in the water, just be aware that that can lower the oxygen level. So if you do see the fish gasping, then increasing their oxygen is a really good idea. So we'll check this KH in maybe in a few days and then consider dosing it again, because the KH was only 1 when I tested it. We really want a minimum of 4. Just be aware that when you do things like filter cleans, often it's 1 step backwards to get a step forward. So we've given this filter a good clean out now. So in the long run, it'll be way, way better. But in the short term, we've ruffled it all up and it can actually look worse sometimes. If putting a tank in the wall, make sure that you try and ventilate the top as much as possible. In this case, the top is open, so I'm very happy with that. But I also like the cabinet as ventilated as possible. And if you want to do something very good, have yourself a drain that you can connect a gravel cleaner to, and have a tap that you can refill with a little end on it like that. It's a really convenient way of not having to lug around buckets. So now we just wait. Oh, look at this, the Bridgefoot cats. That's what they do when they're sort of wanting to breed. Do you see them doing that very often?
Oh, all the time. I'm thinking that one is trying to bite the other one or something.
Yeah, it's like a breeding. Yeah, it's like I think it's the male from memory that grabs onto the female and goes for a jolly old ride. You do that with your wife, don't you?
No, of course.
Just jump and twirl around her and make her drag you around, particularly in the swimming pool. What else are they good for?
Well, I'm not sure. You're the one who's telling the story.
Yeah. The one thing I try not to let my story be bothered by is facts. Makes your story a lot more interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that will definitely help. But also, there is a bit of a tint in the water, which is called a Gilvan tint, which is just means you just need to do some water changes. And that carbon that I added should help.
Okay.
So once that all stabilizes, it should be. But I'd like to get this water a lot clearer than it is. Obviously, it's not clear now because I've just disturbed everything. But and we also want to keep an eye on the filters, because all this sediment that you're looking at is going to find its way into the filters. So replacing that filter wall is going to be a really good idea when it gets really dirty.